Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to ask the question, how do we study effectively? What does it look like, and what does it mean? Well, it's true that our lives are full of activity, whether we play sports, whether we simply work or have a family. Maybe we have to take care of family members, or even just more than these things. Then we find ourselves looking at the clock and very quickly realizing that there isn't a lot of time left to be studying English. While you can't really cut down in all of your responsibilities, there are some ways that you could structure your planning and studying to keep things going smoothly and ensuring that nothing gets left by the wayside. Let me give you some ideas on how you can do that. Well, one thing that I found to be very effective is to redefine what I call my study time. Because if I think for one moment that I have to take an hour out of my day and sit down and study something, then of course it's not going to be something that I look forward to. In fact, it's going to be something that I find quite painful. So the way I do it is to make sure that my study time is redefined as practice time. Yes, it is true, we all need to study the rules of grammar. It's also true that there are certain things that we have to read. But much more importantly is if you really want to speak English, then you should be speaking English. So rather than think of your study time as a time with books, which is quite frightening, quite frankly, if I think about it, you can instead think of your study time as fun. For example, bring a language exchange partner in that hour that you have free, talk to them on Skype, have a fun session with them. And when I say fun, I'm talking about doing fun things, collaborating on a project, maybe working on a blog together, maybe even simply having a lively discussion on a topic that you've chosen from esldiscussions.com or any other website. But make it something that you want to look forward to. If you can't do that, use that time for shadowing. Listen to something which makes you feel good, makes you feel, well, that you want to actually do it. But there's no need to torture yourself by declaring an hour of study every day. I mean, it doesn't sound very exciting, especially for adults who perhaps haven't been to school for many years. Another thing is to make a plan of when you can do these fun things. We used to call it a study plan, but I don't think we can call it that now, especially if we're going to enjoy it. The purpose of learning languages, well, we all have our ambitions, but they're supposed to bring you joy. It's like any hobby. If it doesn't make you really happy, then your joy level tells you that something is wrong if it goes down. One of the first things that I do when I have to study, or to redefine it as have a fun time in learning a language, take out a calendar and just chart how much time you actually have to study every day. Now, for those of you who work at home or maybe who work in IT, maybe you have a kind of unconventional calendar. This might be something you have to do daily. You can look at the day coming up and you can say, okay, how much time do I have to study tomorrow? Or very early in the morning, you can say, okay, how much time do I have to study today? But be careful of this word study. I'd like you to redefine that into something bigger and into something a little bit more enjoyable. For me personally, I try to do a little bit every day of the week, maybe have one day where I don't do anything, but I involve other people as much as I can. For example, I'm currently learning Persian. I really realised that grammar rules didn't help me. Writing down words just annoyed me. And so now I talk to somebody from Iran every day. Not always the same person, but it really helps me a lot to define my own goals, to connect with other people, knowing that I'm helping them as well as them helping me. It's a two-way thing, and I actually look forward to my sessions now. If that was replaced with sitting down and being told, you will study for an hour, I think I would probably go a little bit insane. So, make a little plan of when your time is that you can actually have your moment with English. See it as forming habits. Figure out your system. For example, try to get up an hour earlier, and I know that that's not always possible. You need to be careful with that one. It's up to you to figure out exactly when that time is. But figuring out exactly how much time you have available is a really good place to start. Not because it's a timetable, but because it gives your mind a message. It opens your mind and you're waiting to get some kind of idea or result on how to proceed. It's a psychological trick. It's got nothing to do with your diary. It's just allowing your mind to say, okay, I'm open to receiving what's happening here. Some people often say that the moment they finish school, they go straight to a coffee shop with their books or with their laptop to talk to their language exchange partner. I've also heard people saying that when they finish work, they just simply stay at their desk and then talk to their language partner and have a really fun conversation. Not something you can do in the library probably, but maybe you could find some quiet space to do that, which isn't home. Some of us don't have motivation to start work early in the morning, so maybe having a coffee before work, talking to your language partner, might be a great way to start your day. Bearing in mind that many of us are working at home, and also the time difference between many countries could mean that your language partner, if they are in their country of origin, might be available. One thing about British people is we generally are very organised. We have our timetables and we have everything at a set time. We're not the kind of people you can just call up and hope to talk to. To put a time and date in your calendar, again, opens up your mind to that possibility that you're waiting for a result. A lot of how you do this is going to depend very much on what your priorities are. If your priority is reading that grammar book, that might be fine for you. And there's nothing I can say that's going to change your mind. But if you really want to really move on to the next level, you have to tap into your joy level and enthusiasm. For me, that's always going to involve other people. If you're wandering around alone thinking, oh God, English, I need to read this book and I don't know what to do and I only have 1 hour, it shouldn't quite be so stressful, you know? So perhaps you should redefine that time that you're spending. Try to break it up a bit. Remember, the book is a book of rules, but, well, life isn't like that. You know, sometimes when I finish teaching on italki, if I go to the coffee shop, you know, I don't sit down with my friends and discuss these wonderful conditional tenses I used today. Well, maybe some teachers do actually do that, but I certainly don't. And it's not the usual way for people to have a conversation. When English people get together in the pub, they don't sit around and say, you know, I really used the passive voice today and I'm so happy about that. So put the book down. Show people you can use the passive voice, especially examiners, but don't get too caught up in the rules. Listening to yourself is also very, very important. Just to ask yourself, how am I today? If the answer comes back negative, bad, rough, negative adjectives, try to reframe that. And again, make those English lessons fun, fun, fun. If you are able to create a schedule for every day, make sure you stick to it. And another good thing about working with other people, like language exchange partners, is you can't easily get out of it. And when you do get out of it, you're going to feel shy because you know that you're letting someone else down. And that's not a good thing because it's not all about you. Language exchange partners are waiting for you to help them also. So, estimate the time that you need. Redefine it as a joyful time, a fun time with people that you enjoy talking with. Start with small deadlines. If you really have to sit down with a book for an hour, make sure you take a break at least every 10 minutes. Just for a few minutes, buy yourself a nice bag of sweets and reward yourself. But again, it really shouldn't have to be like that. Stay organized. Write your deadlines down on your calendar or your wall chart. Put them in your diary. Get some rewards going. Also think ahead. If you know that you're going to visit your grandmother next Sunday, then tell people in advance. British people especially are very sensitive to being let down at the last moment. These are just a few very basic rules about time management. But remember, when it comes to English, well, it's something that has to be shared. Language is a community effort. And the more open you can be to other people helping you or you helping them, the easier it becomes. If you are just going to sit alone with a book, well, I think that's sad, to be honest. Sitting alone with Duolingo might be okay in the first few weeks until you feel that you're able to communicate. But as soon as you possibly can, please do involve other people because it's the only way to really learn effectively. They'll hold you accountable, you'll hold them accountable, and everyone will be happy. Don't get too stressed about this. When people hear words like time management, they automatically think, and then they try to make time to punish themselves with English books and literature. Just see it as a conversation with a friend, If you go down the language exchange route, you can avoid terms like study time and make them into, I'm going to talk to my friend. You see the difference psychologically? Yeah. You don't have to make it so formal. You don't have to make it so informal either, but somewhere in the middle would be nice. And if you're a busy person and you're telling me, you know what, I really, really don't have time for this. If you really don't, well, you really have to figure out whether it's enough of a priority for you to actually do something. Well, a few things on time management today. I hope you found this helpful, and let's talk again soon. See you. Bye-bye.